Hey guys, I'm back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video we're talking about Jude Bellingham. Yes, this whole Jude Bellingham saga, this situation continues to rumble on, and it's seemingly going to rumble on for a long time to come yet, because the highly rated, high prospect Bellingham is obviously a heavy and big target for a lot of top clubs from across Europe. But today, the news is that one of those clubs might be dropping out of that race, and that club is my club, Liverpool. According to David Ornstein today, it's seemingly possible that Liverpool's position in this race for Jude Bellingham is gaining a weaker and weaker position by the day, with other teams circling around them, ready to flaunt their cash, open their wallets, and Liverpool's position in terms of that financial aspect of this potential deal is growing weaker. Their influence is growing weaker, and Liverpool might have to look at alternatives to Bellingham going forward. We're going to be talking all about Bellingham. We're going to be talking about Liverpool and the other teams that are seemingly in and around this Jude Bellingham saga as well. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to the video. Let's talk about Jude Bellingham. Let's talk about what David Ornstein said and everything else in between. Now, I'll talk about Bellingham in the past. I think he's an incredible footballer. I think he's, for his age of, 19, 20 years old, he's phenomenal. I think for someone of his age, he's incredible. I think the ceiling he can go to is unbelievable. I think he's a top-class midfielder for the present and for the future. I think that he's a perfectly all-round... Well, not perfectly, because he can still grow, of course, but I think he's an incredible, outstanding, all-round midfielder. You tell him a particular role to do in that midfield, he's going to do that and do it to a very, very, very good standard, consistently and consecutively. Ball carrier, ball winner, playmaker, box-to-box midfielder, all of those kinds of roles in the midfield, keeps things ticking over, links up play really well, can get forward to join attacks and score goals, can get back to defend, and plays very well in all kinds of aspects of his game as a midfielder. I think he has the entire package, and like I say, he can even continue to get better and better with each and every single passing game, passing month, passing year, passing season, whatever you want to call it. He will get better. He is going to be a big investment, of course, but when you think about the longevity, when you think about the ceiling he can get to, or the kind of levels he can reach, it all seems rather worth it. Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester City have been named as being very much interested in signing this midfielder, and rightfully so. You got three top teams in across Europe there alone. There are probably going to be others as well, and let's face it, everybody's probably going to be interested. Even Wycombe Wanderers or Rotherham United are probably very much interested, but realistically, not going to get him. Although they seemingly have more of a chance of Liverpool. But no, like I say, Liverpool, very much interested. We've heard obviously a lot of talk about Liverpool during this entire saga. We've heard about all the kind of, when they're on England duty, the England players of Liverpool's team were all kind of close to him. Henderson was close to him. Trent Alexander was pretty much his best friend, and he was pretty much sharing a room with him, it seemed, during obviously the time of that World Cup happening. We've heard that Liverpool have pretty much tried everything. Klopp's been in constant contact with him. They've tried pretty much everything to kind of sweet talk him, kind of get that deal across the line and everything, and try and obviously put off potential buyers, and obviously try and convince him to sign for Liverpool, it seems. And obviously, when you look back at last summer, obviously a midfielder in Aurelien Tchouameni was a prime target, but once that moved, obviously focus moved on to Jude Bellingham, and there was talk about Liverpool and Bellingham back then, and it seemed that Liverpool were preparing to wait for next summer, maybe get the price tag down a little bit, that kind of thing, maybe give them, obviously put a lot of work into that deal, and Liverpool in a way did what Liverpool do. They wait, they see, and they hope that will happen. Obviously, with the way that this season's gone, it seems that they may have missed a big opportunity. It seems that they may have let this one slip. It seems that they may have overthought this one. I said it before, like, when you wait for a particular player, that plan A kind of player, it's okay to sort of do that when you're on the way up, if you can guarantee that you can get to that next level and that that player is going to be able to take you even further. We did it with Van Dijk. We waited on Van Dijk. We were able to build without Van Dijk to get to a next level, in which Van Dijk was still interested and very much wanted to be a part of the Liverpool project at that time. We went and got Van Dijk a few months later in the January transfer window. He then took us to that next level of being title contenders, title winners, Champions League contenders, Champions League winners, so on and so forth. With this one, never gonna... possibly was going to happen, but with the way that this season's gone, looking very much more unlikely. And when you think that, obviously we've heard a lot of talk in recent weeks and months that Liverpool were going to have a massive war chest, Liverpool were going to go into the summer with a lot of money to spend, and they're going to be interested and excited about the prospect of finally being able to splash the cash a hell of a lot more than in previous windows. I know that obviously last summer we did spend a lot of money on the likes of Darwin Núñez and a couple of other players like that. But at the same time, it just wasn't the same, was it? It just wasn't. It just felt like Liverpool should be doing that as the bare minimum anyway. That's what it kind of felt like. We've had 7 or 8 years now under Jurgen Klopp. And he's, in that time, been building Liverpool back up on the pitch. He's had to obviously deal with past regimes and past mistakes by the owners and everything. And he's had to try and build them back up on the pitch to obviously re-raise their profile in the modern game. And he's done that brilliantly, to the point where obviously he started to win trophies again. He's won everything there is. Liverpool are back out in Europe every single week. And to the point where obviously they've always been a massive team, but in the modern era they are back to being near very much at the top kind of thing, to the point where money should no longer be an issue. Money should be fine, and the owners should pull their finger out a bit more. And we've had all our say on that. I myself have had my say on how the owners don't pull their finger out enough, don't kind of raise the bar enough in that aspect. This summer, like I say, there's been reports again that Liverpool are going to have a lot of money to spend, but a lot of fans, including myself, were like, well, you made this promise last year, you made this promise the year before, you made this promise the year before, and we've not necessarily seen it. We've not seen it enough for us to suggest this is going to be any different, because we all sort of expected these reports to come out anyway, and then we all expected, as the season came to its conclusion, there would be reports coming out that, oh, Liverpool don't need to spend a lot of money this summer because we have young prospects that are going to come through, and Jurgen Klopp's got big plans for these young academy players, or Liverpool have got this player coming back from injury, this player is coming back from injury, or, you know, Liverpool are only going to look at 1 or 2 big players to come in because they feel like the squad is able to challenge for stuff. And, you know, oh, we're not getting top 4 now. Oh, that's going to really hit hard. It's not. It can't. If top 4 isn't going to happen this season for Liverpool, which, let's face it, might not actually happen. Tottenham, the Harry Kane team, might get there, or even Newcastle might get there. Brighton's still within a shout as well. If top 4 doesn't happen this season, which, like I say, let's face it, is a possibility, and a very big possibility at that, that shouldn't affect Liverpool's spending. If anything, that should encourage Liverpool to spend more to get back into the top 4 for next season, but it won't. How can Arsenal, who have not got Champions League football for a number of years, and probably not even got European football in a couple of those years in previous years gone by, manage to spend 300 odd million or whatever it was in the past few years alone in order to rebuild, in order to get better, in order to obviously be where they are right now, and Liverpool not be able to do that whilst being in Europe, whilst being in the Champions League. But the moment we're not in it, we're still in the same boat. We're still in the same position. It's bizarre to me. It's mad. But the fact of the matter is that that's where the whole centre of this Bellingham thing lies. Money, finances, that kind of power. David Ornstein tweeted out today saying, as things stand, Liverpool increasingly unlikely to sign Jude Bellingham this summer. Expected price and financial power of rivals puts Liverpool's hopes in doubt. Pursuit not off and no firm decisions, but senses Manchester City and Real Madrid in stronger position. Like I say, we were expecting, we were told we were going to get a lot of money. As I said, a lot of Liverpool fans, including myself, didn't necessarily believe it. We'd only believe it when we see it. The money aspect in this situation shouldn't be a problem. In my opinion, it shouldn't be a problem. Dortmund are probably going to sell him for somewhere between 120 to 150 million. Let's say that that's going to be the kind of ballpark figure, the rough estimate figure for a Bellingham sale this summer, if Dortmund are to obviously grant that. It's going to be somewhere between 120 and 150 million. Liverpool should be able to afford that. Liverpool should be able to afford that, afford the wages, break the bank for this guy, because like I said, the long-term investment of this guy is he's going to be a part of that midfield for the next 10 years or so to come. And therefore, he's repaid it instantly. And like I say, for the player he is right now, he's an incredible talent for someone of his age, and he can only continue to get better. And let's say that Liverpool's downfall does continue. Let's say that it continues in the long run. They have a big asset there in Jude Bellingham that they can sell, and they may not be able to get like the full price for him. They can still get a large chunk of that money back just from selling him alone. I don't understand what the big deal is with that. It baffles me that once again the owners, if this is all true, are not raising the bar again, not pushing the boundaries again, not pulling their finger out more again. But we should have expected this. And we kind of all did expect it, really. Like, I talked about Bellingham signing for Liverpool, and I thought that this would be an exceptional signing. And I got a little bit hyped up, and I kind of loved the idea and the prospect of him playing for my club. But I was sort of like, if things continue, if Liverpool don't get top four, that's going to make things difficult. He'll want to play in the Champions League. It shouldn't necessarily make a massive deal, because obviously this is just a one-off season, and he'll be looking at that going, is this a one-off season for Liverpool, or is this just the start of something obviously much worse that they're going to go down, this kind of worse rabbit hole to go down? Is that going to be the right move for me? Like I say, it's a mad situation, and I get that Man City and Real Madrid are obviously the more attractive prospects. You've got Man City, who will be looking to rebuild their midfield of their own. You know, I said the other day, maybe they are looking at someone like Kevin De Bruyne, for example, as maybe getting on a bit, and maybe have to start bleeding someone else into that role for when he does leave in a couple of years' time. You've, of course, got the likes of Bernardo Silva, who might be leaving. City might decide to continue this bit of a turnover they've been going through the past couple of years, bringing in fresh blood, getting out some of the ones that maybe have run their course in that club. And obviously they don't, with the money that they've got, they continue to say, we don't stand in the way of players that want to leave. Well, when you've got that kind of money, of course you can just change over and turn over whenever you want. Obviously, linking up with Erling Haaland is another factor to that as well. That could be another interesting partnership to look out for, should that, of course, happen. And then, of course, on the other side of it, you've got Real Madrid, who once upon a time had Casemiro, Toni Kroos, and Luka Modric. And let's face it, Casemiro's gone. They've got rid of him. They've bought through the likes of Edouard Camavinga and Aurelien Tchouameni the past couple of years. If they bring through Jude Bellingham as well, that's that midfield completely overturned, changed, and has longevity to it. And those three midfielders are incredible in the present and for the future. Very young midfielders. They're for the next 10 to 15 years or so. It would be incredible if Real Madrid managed to pull this off and managed to replace their midfield in free transfer windows with those kinds of players. It would be phenomenal, and like I say, nothing really does change other than they just resurrect their midfield. They just rebirth their midfield for the long term. And I think for Bellingham, I think Real Madrid, unless he obviously wants to return to England, unless he wants to be like closer to family or something, or whatever the case may be for him, I think Real Madrid would be the more attractive prospect. Champions League heritage, Champions League history, wanting to obviously play in that infamous white strip of Real Madrid, something that a lot of young footballers dream about. Of course, it seems more attractive prospects. And like I say, Man City is not bad either. Pep Guardiola, Erling Haaland, being back in England, that could be a possibility for him as well. But yeah, I'm just annoyed with the whole kind of financial state of this and the whole kind of feeling. Because David Ornstein, let's face it, is very good and he's very reliable. But the whole financial aspect of this, from Liverpool's point of view, it just, yeah. Like I say, even though we sort of half expected it, it's still a kick in the teeth. Because, once again, it's just not pushing the boundaries, not raising the bar, and not pulling their finger out more on FSG, the owners, and everybody else. Which I genuinely believe they can do. They could do. They just don't want to do it. And for me, Bellingham is incredible. Bellingham is phenomenal. And he can only get better. And obviously, time is very much on his side. And I think it'll be a worthwhile investment. But it seems to be Liverpool's loss, whether Champions League football is going to be taking place with Liverpool next season or not. Like I say, I think Real Madrid is the more attractive and better prospect for Bellingham going forward. But obviously, if he wants to link up with Pep Guardiola, if he wants to link up with Erling Haaland again, because I know that they had a strong bond when they were at Dortmund together. And obviously, if he wants to move back to England, then of course, I completely get why he would choose Manchester City. But there could be someone else waiting in the wings as well. This one is far from being settled. This one's far from being over. Jude Bellingham definitely is someone to look out for the present, the future, and of course, as this transfer saga continues to rumble on, and will rumble on very much into the summer, it seems, unless obviously anything major develops and breaks between now and then. As I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this whole Jude Bellingham saga? What do you make of David Ornstein's feelings on Liverpool and how their financial power and everything is weakening in this race by the second? What do you make of Liverpool as a whole, Manchester City, Real Madrid? Where do you think Jude Bellingham, though, will go, whether it be this summer or next summer or whenever it will be? Where do you think is next for Jude Bellingham in terms of his footballing destination? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on this particular topic down below in the comment section. It could make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up, enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things always and for greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in another video.